The old wreck of a deck needs new boards on the upper level, so we begin replacing them using hammers, saws, and other noisy tools. You can imagine our surprise when we discover a nest of 4 robins as we begin the job. The birds appear to be about a week old. They seem to take up nearly all of the available space in the nest. Despite the noise and sudden burst of daylight from the pulled boards, the 4 hatchlings remain fairly calm and relaxed, except when they think it's feeding time. Then they get excited. But where's the food? One of the clutch looks over the edge of the nest. Maybe he thinks there's something to eat down there, or how far it is to the ground. Meanwhile, the other hungry 3 aren't closing their beaks just yet. But eventually, even they give up when Mom and Dad don't show up right away. At last, one of the parents appears, standing about 30 feet away. We can't tell if it's the female or male, but this larger one spends more time with the nest, so we'll call her Mom. Clouds on the second day lead to steady rain. Mom's now spending more time with the clutch, keeping a watchful eye on us. Hear the chirps? That's Dad trying to draw away our attention. For a little guy in the trees 40 or so feet away, he's quite loud. In these time-lapse clips, Mom and Dad keep feeding and grooming the hatchlings in spite of the falling rain. As the rain gradually soaks the wooden joists, the parents spread their wings to shelter their young. Now viewed at normal speed, the same course of action goes on. Mom feeds and guards. Dad tries to get our attention. We mean no harm, but the parents don't know that. Mom and Dad have much to fear for their young. It's hard to tell who might be a predator. Each night, we put the boards back over the exposed nest to prevent animals from raiding it. Because we keep coming back to observe, the parents use a number of tactics to get us away from the nest, including staring us down. Here, Mom flies straight at us, looking like she's attacking. At the last second, she swoops away and lands up on the roof, peering down. We must be getting on her nerves. But the chicks still must be fed and the nest groomed, so it's back to work, Mom and Dad. 4 days have gone by. 2 chicks have left the nest, leaving these 2. They're hungry as ever, so Mom and Dad constantly keep hunting for and delivering meals. The growing nestlings have more room to spread out now and don't have to compete so hard for chow. Later that day, one of the chicks takes off, leaving just this fellow. Is it time for his flying lesson? In the time lapse, it appears that Mom is trying to encourage him to spread his wings and fly. He's thinking about it, but hesitates. After all, it's a long way down. As night falls, Mom provides shelter. Once again, she appears to glare at us in this flash picture, as if to say, "Do not disturb." It's the day after, and he's still there. He seems to be quite comfy in his home for one. As seen in this time lapse later that day, his bravery finally overcomes his doubts. Now he's on the edge of the nest, then on a joist. Can takeoff be coming soon? And in a blink of an eye, he's gone. Here is a replay of the departure in slow motion. He's barely visible on the highlighted grass. And there he is. Hooray, he made it. He might not be sure how he got there or where he is, But he sure isn't going back to the nest. Now, what are these wings for? As we keep the camera on the chick, Mom anxiously chirps and jumps around while her chick tries to get oriented. Then Mom tries her best to divert us once again with her dive bombing and last-second swoop-away maneuver. But we keep following this little guy as he hops away. And then his first flight. Not the most graceful one he'll ever do, but it's a good start. Well, that's the last we saw of him and his nestmates. We'd like to believe their debut into the wild was successful. Here's another look at some of Mom and Dad's flying skills. Will any of this rub off on their young?